Hello, good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. Thank you for joining Western Union this morning to hear about the news about the African Diaspora Marketplace. I'm Aida Diarra, the Regional Vice President in charge of North Central West Africa, based out of Casablanca, Morocco. I'd like to start by telling you a little bit about ADM. ADM is the collaboration of the USAID Agency for International Development, the Western Union Company, and the Western Union Foundation. It is one of the few public-private initiatives to capitalize on the knowledge and the resource of US-based African diaspora and other entrepreneurs to drive economic growth through small, medium-sized businesses and SMEs. ADM is more than a business plan competition. The initiative generates innovation in high-priority, high-impact business sector. It also increases engagement of countries within their diaspora and creates real linkage to funding and technical resources for business development. This is the second ADM following a very successful initiative beginning in 2010 to really catalyze US-based African diaspora in starting and growing small businesses in Africa. The first ADM attracted a total of 700 enterprise development plan from the US-based African diaspora for 19 countries in sub-Saharan Africa. 14 businesses were awarded grants in the range of $50,000 to $100,000. And these businesses are located in 7 sub-Saharan African countries. An initial assessment of progress demonstrates that winning businesses brought innovative practices and technologies to local communities that could be replicated. For several businesses, they also have enabled the introduction of improved production methods to local communities and have helped to fill critical infrastructure needs. And already half of the businesses, only after 2 years, demonstrate promise to sustainability in the short term or in the near future. Due to their innovation, these businesses also offer features that can potentially be replicated elsewhere. Opportunities to establish regional strategies to achieve a development goal beyond the effect of a single community. If we wanted to take a quick look at some of the key milestones of ADM1, I will talk about a couple of examples. If you take Sproxel in Nigeria, today it provides drug anti-counterfeiting solution based on SMS technology. Since its launch, it has been used by 1 million customers and have received additional fundings from IBM and others. The company has since expanded its operation to 3 additional countries, including India, Ghana, and Kenya. Another example is Global Tracking in Ethiopia that offers the first ever GPS tracking system for monitoring commercial fleets in Ethiopia, where economic growth previously was hindered by loss and thefts of cargo. The result is improved driver safety, on-time delivery, and reduced loss of cargo. Since its launch, the company has signed Coca-Cola as their first customer and has already generated sufficient revenue to cover costs. A third example is Earthwise Ferry in Uganda. It has launched the first modern safe passenger ferry on Lake Victoria to travel to Tanzania and Kenya, when there are no services currently, serving a critical infrastructure need and reducing travel time from 3 days to 7 hours. The ferry is also environmental friendly with engines that run on locally sourced sunflower oil and have paperless ticketing system. And last but not least, I will take the example of AAA's Nigeria. That is a food processing company that sources locally to produce spice, preserved fruits, and vegetable products for the Nigerian market that traditionally relied on the import in processed food. ACE is generating revenue and has reached a point of sustainability. It has opened a factory, has increased production and employees, and is expanding its distribution network and in line of food and have received additional outside capital investment as well. After ADM1, the business established were monitored and assessed to provide us with valuable learnings prior to the launch of ADM2 in December of 2011. ADM1 was jointly funded by USAID, the Western Union Company, and the Western Union Foundation, with other contributing partners including EcoBank, the George Washington University Center for International Business Education and Research, and IVBAR Management. The same funders and contributors supported ADM2 and were joined by the new partners including the U.S. Department of State, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, an organization committed to the economic transformation of Africa by enhancing competitiveness and growth of the African private sector. In addition, we also had the African Capacity Building Foundation, a leader, a major partner, and center of excellence for capacity building in Africa. And we also have, in addition to those previously mentioned, a new lead implementing partner called SEAF, Small Enterprise Assistance Fund. ADM1 was open to proposals for a number of countries: Angola, Benin, Botswana, Côte d'Ivoire, DRC, Ethiopia, Ghana, Kenya, Liberia, Mali, Mozambique, Nigeria, Rwanda, Senegal, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zambia. And this year, we added Libya and Tunisia. Expanding the ADM to Tunisia and Libya really leveraged the unique benefits to help create lasting social economic impact. This year, nearly 500 business proposals were submitted in the agribusiness, ICT, as well as alternative energy. In accordance with the program rules, proposals were evaluated by independent panels established by the George Washington University, the Enterprise Development Network, and other small business experts. The panel identified 71 semi-finalists who were invited to submit final proposals. Out of the 71 finalists, 44 entrepreneurs competed over this last weekend for an investment up to $50,000 in matching grants and or technical assistance up to $20,000, reaching up to a total of $70,000 investment per awardees in their business at ADM2. Winners will also have access to past recipients, and that's very important for mentorship and technical assistance as they develop and activate business strategies. The marketplace competition showcased promising and innovative ideas for business that can create employment and strengthen trade in emerging markets in sub-Saharan Africa. Combined with a new power distribution business model to make reliable, cheap electricity, EcoPower Liberia distributes, installs, and operates an electricity generating system that uses agricultural waste for fuel. Another example is Viable Vision Industries in Ghana. It is the only commercial mushroom firm in Ghana that produces and distributes mushroom bags and mature mushrooms all under one roof. It also plans on setting up a training center and support programs aimed at capacity building for small-scale producers and hobby growers. From a Western Union perspective, we are proud to advocate for our customers in the US and in Africa. Our business model and initiatives like ADM help drive financial access and economic opportunity in both developed and developing countries. If we look at Africa, Western Union has been operating there for the past 17 years through a network of more than 26,000 agent locations in more than 50 countries. And because we work so closely with diaspora communities, we've earned a high level of trust, enabling us to convene governments, non-profits, and other businesses to support the diaspora community. The Western Union Company is committed to positive social impact through reliable products, responsible operations, and innovative community programs, such as the ADM. We strongly believe in the power of diaspora communities. We believe that they are the ones who will foster positive change by supporting their home communities through not only remittances, but also direct investment. Every day at Western Union, we see how there is a strong connection between the diaspora and their home countries, and we see how individuals, as they leave their family to foreign shores where they prosper, they send money back home to support their families. The IFAD, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, estimates that the African diaspora represents more than 30 million people, and that the remittances they send are close to $40 billion every year, which represents about 5% of Africa's GDP. Increasingly, their countries of origin are recognizing the economic contribution of the African diaspora, and they are looking for creative ways to leverage their expertise and encourage further investment that will drive economic prosperity. The members of the African diaspora who participate in ADM2 rose to that challenge. They represent a deeply committed source of innovative and entrepreneurial solutions to drive economic development in Africa. They have the resources, they have the expertise, and as importantly, they have an understanding of their own countries to help develop African solutions to African challenges. The United Nations, USAID, and other development leaders believe that the fight against poverty in Africa is largely a fight against unemployment. In sub-Saharan Africa, it is estimated that more than 218 million people today live in extreme poverty, according to IFAD. Underlying this trend is the fact that the majority of people in Africa do not have a secure source of income. About 54% of Africa's youth is unemployed or underemployed or even inactive, according to the International Labour Office. There is also a growing trend in the aid community towards developing economic growth through sustainable business initiative and entrepreneurship that have the potential for long-term employment. SMEs today account for 90% of the world's workforce. In the US alone, it is responsible for 65% of job creation, according to the Small Business Administration. So that's why it is especially important during the current economic downturn to promote continued investment in sustainable business development and employment in Africa. We invite you to follow the progress of winning ADM2 entrepreneurs as they established their new business and channel their expertise and passion for their country of origin into creating sustainable employment in partnership with like-minded individuals back home. Throughout the process, research will be undertaken also to monitor progress, and we will be happy to share the findings with you as they are released further into the program period. So with that, if you have any questions, I will be happy to take them now. All right, I have a first question here. Not sure whom it is from, but it says, where would you say the most investment is currently being done in Africa? Which industry? That's a very good question. When we look at the needs expressed by the different countries in Africa, the needs are articulated basically around three main areas. The first one is the agribusiness, and it's all about capitalizing on a sector that is in high demand within the region to really promote employment and develop product solutions that would be African-based. The second sector is related to ICT, and then the third is all around energy. And these are really the three industries on which every countries in Africa rely on to drive economic development and economic growth moving forward. I have a question here that is about the role played by our partner in the ADM. So just if we recall, as partners we have public sector as well as the private sector. We have the USAID. We also have organizations such as CIF, the African Capacity Building Foundation. We had Tony Elumelu Foundation, EcoBank, Irv Bar, who played a key role in making ADM a success in 2012. Now, these partners come in different capacity. The first one is about technical assistance. It's really supporting and working with the different entrepreneurs to help them execute on their business plan. First of all, frame their business plan, but also execute on it. And the second level of partnership is financial based, where really some of these organizations came into the ADM1 with financial support to help these businesses start or expand their business. Oh, that's a question that is dear to my heart. Have you seen an increase in participation by African women entrepreneurs in the ADM program? I have to say I was extremely pleased when I had the different interactions with the entrepreneurs that submitted their proposal. A good number of women that wanted to make a difference in Africa, in their local communities, and who had a lot to bring to the table. So yes, as the program evolves and develops, we see women, African women, who have the skills and have the expertise, who also wants to contribute to making a difference in Africa. So we will be monitoring them very closely as well. I have a question from National Pilot newspaper. And the question is about what is the entry point for interested business persons. And I'm going to ask you to clarify the question. I'm suspecting that the question is about if somebody is interested in participating in ADM, what should be the entry or what should be the process for him to submit. But please clarify that before I answer. So what I'll do is come back to the other question later. I have another one here that is asking, for the criteria used in selecting the SMEs and how it aligns to areas and industry that need developmental incentive. That is an excellent question, and really we have by design narrowed the kind of projects and initiatives that we wanted to be involved with around the areas that have been identified by the different countries as an area of development for the continent. And that's how all the projects that have been submitted were around the agribusiness, were around ICT, as well as renewable energy. Now, when it comes to the criteria of selection, what was important for our judges and the different panels that they went through is a couple of criteria. Number one, it was important for these SMEs to come to the table. It's a matching grant, so they are to be willing to invest in the business together with Western Union and their partners. Number two, the screening was all about sustainability. How confident were these different entrepreneurs and how convincing were they in terms of demonstrating sustainability of their activity? And that was another very important criteria. And it was also about innovation. How were these projects were going to make a difference in the countries of origin, and it was also about making sure that these were going to create an employment in the different communities where the projects will be implemented. So it's really about looking at these different projects and initiatives that would, after a period of a year or two, make a difference in the communities, create employment, and be profitable for the entrepreneurs. I have another question here, which is what was different about this year's ADM in general, and is there any plan to expand the category sectors next year? Very good question as well. What we've learned tremendously from ADM 1, and there are a couple of things that we did differently in 2012 with the second edition of ADM. The first thing that we realized is that for these entrepreneurs, what was essential was not necessarily the capital, the capital support. It is certainly important, but what was very important for these businesses is the technical support. So that's how this year we've really split the support between the actual matching grant, the capital equity that we're bringing on the table, but more importantly, the technical support that will come along with it. What we also learned from ADM 1 was that it was important to share the learnings and the experiences for the businesses that would be selected. And that's how this year we're really connecting, the winners of ADM 1 with those of ADM 2, so they can share, their experiences, their learnings, and their best practices. The second learning that we had is related actually to the second part of the question, which is how do we expand the categories for the previous the editions to come, ADM editions to come. We started with the first edition with 8 business categories that was spread ranging from education to ICT, and we realized that again it was important to match the sectors and the industries of the programs that we were going to focus on with the needs of the countries where this program would be implemented. And once again, they are articulated around the 3 sectors that I have mentioned before, which is agribusiness, ICT, and energy. And again, the objective for us is to continue to monitor these activities, continue to monitor these businesses, and see to what extent we can further develop and enhance any potential additional version of ADM moving forward. I have another question here related to the role women play in ADM. And it says, as follow-up to the women entrepreneurs question, do you allocate quotas to encourage more women to participate, particularly in technology? The focus here has been for us to really encourage those businesses that would come with innovative solutions, sustainability solutions that would be sustainable throughout the course of the years to come. There may not have been a direct focus on a quota for women specifically, but again, as I said earlier, I was particularly excited to see the number of women participating to this initiative, and also the one who have won and who have been selected as part of winners of the grant this year. We will continue to monitor their performance and make sure that we track them moving forward as well. I have a question here about energy. Would you support the innovative initiative to promote an alternative energy solution such as solar? And the answer is yes, and I can share with you an example of a program that was successful actually last year, and I think I mentioned it. It's about that Ugandan SME who has built a solar oven to provide creative solutions to Ugandans who do not have access to electricity. So the answer to the question is yes. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time and questions today. Should you have any further questions at a later stage, I would be happy to take interviews. And so would our partners, EcoBank and the Africa Capacity Building Foundation, as well as the Tony Elumelu Foundation. Really, please refer to the contact details on the press release that has been sent to you. Once again, thank you and goodbye.